That feeling of uncertainty, it seems like a lot of us are dealing with it right now.
Mm,
Whether it's, keeping up with the news or thinking about the future, maybe just managing day-to-day costs. These economic shifts, they can really weigh on you.
yeah, they absolutely can.
If you've got those questions swirling around about money, your job, what's coming next, well, you're definitely not alone in that.
And that brings us right back to a really vital conversation we started. This is the deep dive, and we're looking at finding hope in uncertain times. Faith and the economy, part two.
Right. We're sort of picking up where we left off, exploring how faith can be, well, a real anchor when everything else feels a bit unsteady.
Exactly, building on that foundation.
And what we really want to achieve today is to dig into the material you've shared with us, your stories, the principles you found that work, even specific scriptures that have really hit home.
Yeah, the goal is to pull out some practical strategies, some, genuinely encouraging insights.
We want to help you navigate these times, not just by, gritting your teeth, but with real inner strength and maybe find some lasting peace in the middle of it all.
And we really need to acknowledge the messages we got. They paint a very real picture of the struggles people are facing.
Things like rent, groceries, healthcare, trying to save anything.
Yeah, the constant pressure of bills, worrying about jobs or hours being cut. These are big pressures. They're impacting a lot of lives right now.
Yeah, absolutely. But, amidst all of that, there's this foundational idea that keeps surfacing in the material, a sort of comforting truth.
Hmm.
So from the book of Hebrews, chapter 13, verse 8, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever.
That's a powerful statement.
It is. And let's think about what that really means for a moment. It's not saying that difficulties aren't real, right?
Not at all.
But it's about having a fixed point, a constant, when everything else feels like it's shifting under your feet.
It's fascinating, isn't it? How something written so long ago speaks directly to these very modern anxieties we feel. Totally. It points to a kind of reliability that, isn't tied to the stock market or the latest job report. It's something more fundamental.
About grounding, exactly.
Right.
And to make that feel a bit more real, less abstract, our sources shared some really quite inspiring stories.
Yeah, real examples. People navigating these exact challenges using both their faith and, importantly, their own initiative.
These aren't just theories. They're actual accounts of how people are responding right now.
And what stands out is that their faith isn't passive. It's not just waiting around. It actively shapes how they approach things, how they move forward.
Okay, so take Daniel's story. He got furloughed.
Yeah.
Now, that could easily just make you feel completely stuck. Right.
Oh, absolutely. Deflating.
But instead, he used that time, that unexpected, probably unwelcome time, to learn new skills online.
Which is interesting in itself. What drove that?
Well, maybe it was a belief that, God still provides even when things look bad. Or maybe a sense of purpose bigger than just that one job.
Could be that
Yeah.
proactive step, whatever the root is key.
And it led him to a new remote job. And get this, it actually paid more.
Wow.
So it's not just about the outcome, the better job, but that mindset he had during the setback, taking action.
That really highlights it, doesn't it? Agency that's somehow empowered by faith. It's not expecting magic, but it's actively looking for opportunities, building resilience, and trusting those efforts aren't wasted.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's Marisol. She's a small business owner,
Okay.
had to close her physical store. I mean, imagine that. That's a huge blow.
Devastating for an entrepreneur.
But she turned to prayer, and she also got incredible support from her church community.
Ah, the community aspect. That's important.
Crucial, I think, because that support, plus her own determination, helped her shift everything online. Digital sales,
So she pivoted.
completely. And the result, unexpected growth.
Yeah,
Actually doing better than the physical store had been.
that's amazing. Marisol's story really underlines, well, a couple things. Adaptability, for sure, but also just how powerful community support can be. Her faith gave her comfort, yes, but also this network. Practical help, encouragement, maybe even skills that helped her make that digital jump.
It makes a huge difference. And then we also heard about Fred and Anita. They're retirees.
Okay.
They saw needs in their own neighborhood, felt, called somehow to start a free meal program.
Wow, stepping up like that.
Yeah. And this part is really inspiring as the source material talks about unexpected resources and community connections popping up because of what they started.
That's beautiful.
They stepped out, in faith, really,
Okay.
to help other people, and they found blessings coming back to them.
Fred and Anita's story, it just shows that loop, doesn't it? Giving and receiving. Their action, driven by faith, didn't just meet needs.
Hmm.
Clearly enrich their own lives too and strengthen the whole community fabric. It kind of makes you ask, doesn't it? How can our own faith prompt us to serve even when we're feeling stretched ourselves?
That's a great question. So, okay, pulling these threads together,
Yeah.
what's the big takeaway for you listening?
I think the source material sums it up really powerfully.
Yeah.
Faith doesn't remove the storm, it strengthens you to stand in it.
Ooh, I like that. It's not about avoiding the hard stuff.
No, it's about cultivating that inner strength, building that external support system, all rooted in faith.
Okay, so moving from those stories, those real examples, let's talk about some specific strategies, things you can actually do anchored in faith.
Right, practical steps. Because faith without action can feel incomplete sometimes.
Yeah. Our sources highlight a few key faith and action steps. First one, budgeting with prayer.
Okay, what does that mean exactly? Beyond just, tracking expenses.
Well, it's about being intentional, involving your faith directly in how you manage money.
So like seeking wisdom, discernment when you make financial choices.
Exactly. And maybe seeing what you have as something you're stewarding, not just owning.
That could definitely bring more peace. Aligning spending with values, looking for guidance beyond just your own calculations.
Yeah. Okay, second strategy, staying teachable. Daniel's story comes right back to mind here, doesn't it?
It really does. It's about being open to learning new things, maybe exploring side hustles or different kinds of income.
And doing that with a sense of, like, divine guidance.
Precisely. It connects to not getting rigid when things change around you. It needs a bit of humility, right? A willingness to be led, trusting that even tough times might hold growth opportunities.
That makes sense.
And the source material actually points to Proverbs 16.3 here. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans.
Ah, connecting action with that trust.
Exactly. It suggests your efforts, when committed in faith, can actually lead to stability.
Okay, strategy 3, leaning on community. This came up with Marisol, too.
Yes, the sources really stress this. Don't isolate yourself when things get tough. It's so easy to do.
Oh, yeah, pull inward.
Right. But this encourages reaching out for prayer, yes, but also practical help advice from your church, friends, family, whoever your community is.
Because isolation just makes the fear and anxiety worse, doesn't it?
Magnifies it. Community offers real, tangible support, but also just that feeling of belonging, of shared strength. Knowing you're not supposed to do it all alone, being willing to ask for help and to offer it.
Yeah, both sides of that.
Yeah.
And the fourth strategy, feeding your spirit daily. This feels absolutely essential.
Foundational, really.
It's about those consistent practices. Reading scripture, prayer, worship, whatever connects you. So your inner core stays grounded, even if the outside world is,
Chaotic, yeah. Think of it like building spiritual resilience.
Okay.
Just like your body needs food, your spirit needs regular nourishment, these practices create that bedrock. That inner stability helps you handle the external stuff.
Right. Okay, so that leads us nicely into some of those core beliefs, those biblical anchors the sources mention, key scriptures for comfort and strength.
Yeah, these are verses that have sustained people through all sorts of trials for centuries. And what's powerful is how direct and, well, available these promises feel.
The first one is Psalm 46, verses 1 and 2. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. That phrase, ever-present help. Wow.
It really stands out, doesn't it?
Yeah. How could someone, practically grab onto that when they're facing a specific money worry?
Well, it suggests help isn't far off or only sometimes there. It's always available. So if you're facing a specific bill you can't pay, remembering that might prompt you to actually, pray about it specifically, to actively seek that help instead of just feeling crushed and alone.
Right. Shifting from panic to seeking help. Okay. Then there's Matthew 11, verses 28 to 30. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. That feels like such a personal invitation.
It really does.
What kind of rest do you think that means? Especially when you're stressed about finances. It's not like the bills suddenly vanish.
No, probably not. But maybe the rest is internal, like a deep breath for your soul. It's the peace that comes when you stop trying to carry the weight of everything yourself and you hand over some of that burden, trusting a higher power.
Ah, okay. A mental and spiritual break, even if the external problem is still there.
Exactly. A different kind of rest.
And the third one mentioned is Romans 15:3. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him. This one links trust directly to getting joy and peace. What's that connection?
It suggests that the act of trusting, of placing your faith actively in God, actually opens the door to experiencing joy and peace. A kind of joy and peace that, crucially, isn't dependent on whether your circumstances are good or bad right now.
So it shifts your focus away from worry towards hope.
That seems to be the idea. From anxiety to a calmer state rooted in that trust. And the sources wisely suggest, don't just read these verses.
Right.
Write them down. Speak them out loud. Really let them sink in.
Yeah, make them active. And that builds right into the next idea from the sources, these things called daily faith declarations.
Mm-hmm. Powerful affirmations, things you can actually say, incorporate into your day.
It's like intentionally steering your thoughts, isn't it? Aligning your mindset with these faith principles.
Exactly. Choosing actively a perspective of hope and trust, instead of letting fear or doubt take over.
Okay, so the first one is simple but deep. God is my provider and my peace. What's the power in saying that regularly?
It's a constant reminder, isn't it? An affirmation of where your ultimate security really comes from. Saying that every day could really shift your default setting from, say, scarcity and worry to trust and, peace about God's provision.
Okay, declaration number 2. I am equipped to face today with courage and faith. This sounds like gearing up for the day.
It is. It's about stepping into whatever the day holds with a sense of inner readiness.
How does faith provide that feeling of being equipped?
Well, faith can give you a sense of purpose, right? And a strength that feels bigger than just your own personal capacity. Believing you're supported, guided by something greater that can build real courage, knowing you're not facing it all by yourself.
Yeah, that makes sense. Number 3, my future is secure in God's hands.
That sounds incredibly comforting, especially when the economy feels so uncertain. It really does. The benefit there is about letting go, isn't it?
Letting go of?
The anxiety that comes from trying to map out and control a future you can't possibly predict. Instead, you place your trust in a God you believe holds that future. That can just a profound sense of relief, cutting down the fear of the unknown.
Okay. Declaration 4. I choose to trust, not fear. This one really emphasizes that it's a decision.
Yes, it's an active choice. And why is that choice so vital?
Well, fear can be paralyzing, right? It can make you freeze up or make bad decisions.
Exactly. So consciously choosing trust, making that deliberate decision redirects your focus. Your energy goes towards hope, towards proactive steps, rather than just being consumed by the anxiety.
It's empowering. And the last one, number 5. Hope rises in me daily because of Jesus. This connects hope directly back to the foundation of faith.
How can saying this daily change your outlook?
Well, it frames hope differently, doesn't it? It's not based on whether the news is good today or bad tomorrow. Those things fluctuate.
Right. This frames hope as a constant source, rooted in faith itself. So reminding yourself of that daily could cultivate this persistent sense of optimism, resilience, no matter what the economic headlines are saying.
Yeah, a deeper kind of hope. So, okay, as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, the main theme seems really clear.
It does. Even with all the economic ups and downs, faith offers this incredibly stable, enduring source of hope and resilience.
And it's not just a feeling, right? It's a hope that leads to practical action.
Strengthens community bonds.
And is anchored in these timeless truths we talked about.
Absolutely. And as our sources keep reminding us, no matter how uncertain things might feel out there for you, you're not navigating this alone, and you're not forgotten. You're deeply valued.
That's such an important reminder. And look, we would genuinely love to hear from you about this.
Yeah, definitely.
How has your faith helped you during tough economic times? Are there, specific strategies you use or scriptures that really mean a lot to you?
Please share those experiences. Leave a comment on the platform where you're listening. Let's build that sense of community right here, sharing our stories, supporting each other. That's a powerful way to live out the strength we get from faith and from each other.
Absolutely. So keep moving forward with hope. Keep walking with courage. Remember that even when the world feels like it's constantly changing, there is that constant source of strength, of faithfulness that you can rely on.